Like, explain the visual choices and the world building processes behind Dark Times.
Yeah, so again, we started with that moral argument. Visuals is a big part of, I think, any experience that you're trying to deliver. And when I say experience, an artistic experience, so something like a film or a game. And if we're trying to do something that captures a message like The Road to Glory is Brutal and Cunning, then we want to make sure the visuals enhance that feeling. And when you feel those emotions like the glory and brutality, they lift those emotions even further. You start to get into this like really thematic, holistic kind of experience that you're building now, because all the facets tie together. So I mentioned Tarantino and Conan previously. Those are really two big ones because they allow us to capture the visceral combat in this kind of chaotic setting, like an arena or a gladiator battle, or Kill Bill fighting in that, all those guys with the sword at the end. So that
So
that
good.
kind of chaos, yeah, that all that stuff you'll feel in Dark Times. But we also needed to acknowledge that we are a fantasy game set in the dark times, right? In the dark ages. And so we looked at more fantasy experiences like The Witcher that had a darker visual look to it, or games like Diablo. The glory you feel in that game from all of the feedback, right? There are a lot of VFX in that game to make you feel the combat. We're looking at a lot of Diablo for inspiration on how to sell these attacks and these moves. There's a concept in wrestling called selling. I'm giving away a lot of the business here, but when you get hit by someone, it's not a real hit, but the way that you sell that hit is really important to how the immersion of it, right? Because if you don't sell it like it hurt, you kind of almost make it look fake, right? So if
Right.
there's this if Andre the Giant hits you in the face, even if he didn't actually do anything, you probably want to go flying across the ring or something. And it really comes back to when you're directing something like that, it's a storytelling experience. You want to be able to feel these emotions, right? And so you have to dramatize. We talked about that in the first episode, that there's a lot of the times movies and stuff try to be real and feel realistic, but then you're removing the drama by doing that, right? The immaturity or the unrealisticness of what a story actually is. And so we wanted to kind of keep that in there. And so we've approached it this way, with the over-the-topness from Tarantino and Conan, but then grounding it in this art style, dark fantasy art style of The Witcher, and then selling all of that craziness with really, really cool effects you might see in something like Diablo. So we use a lot in terms of the visuals, and these are just touching surfaces of like the key kind of touchstones, but we must have played a bunch of games like Gang Beasts and a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of good things that kind of shape that, but I think those four would be the key ones.